Welcome, 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 Hattiesburg, and a pleasant day to all our listeners. This is Abby, your host for Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. I'm here to bring you updates, news, and more from our community. To add to all the excitement today, we have Mississippi Moments with Coach Reed Green and a news wrap with Justin Glowacki to ensure you're up to date on all the hottest topics. And guess what? We have a very special guest for you today, John Miller. You definitely want to stay tuned for what he has to share with us today. But before we jump into all the fun, here's a quick message from our sponsor. So hang tight, we'll be right back with more Southern Miss Today.
Join Southern Miss Radio on Sunday mornings from 6 a.m. till noon for Sunday Brunch. You'll get jazz and swing music from artists as wide-ranging as Bix Beiderbecke to Brad Mehldau. From Dippermouth himself to Esperanza Spalding. But relax, you don't need to know anything about the music to enjoy it. It's a great way to wake up on Sunday morning. Sunday Brunch from 6 a.m. until noon on Southern Miss Radio.
Wake up and text. Text and eat. Text and meet up with a friend you haven't seen in forever.
Hi.
Oh, hey.
Text and complain that they're on their phone the whole time. Text and listen to them complain that you're on your phone the whole time. Text and whatever. But when you get behind the wheel, give your phone to a passenger. Put it in the glove box. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back. In campus news, Festival South, Mississippi's premier multi-genre arts festival, is thrilled to announce its season lineup for 2025, taking place from May 31st to June 21st. 2025. This year's theme, Celebration, honors its Sweet 16 season with 4 incredible weekends packed with music, art, theater, and dance, offering over 50 unique cultural experiences designed for all ages, from children to senior adults. The festival features many Southern Miss faculty, staff, alumni, and students in venues on and off campus. A complete schedule and more information is available at festivalsouth.org. Festival South has been a cornerstone for arts and culture in Hattiesburg for 16 years, said Jeffrey George, city councilman for Ward 1, during the announcement at the historic Sanger Theater. This festival continues to bring people together, driving cultural and economic growth in our community while showcasing Hattiesburg as a regional arts destination. Festival South is the largest project of the Hattiesburg Concert Association, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing high-quality artistic experiences to the Pine Belt region. Each year, Festival South presents diverse programming that transcends social, cultural, and economic boundaries. Also in campus news, a Southern Miss alumna helps make history at John C. Stennis Space Center. Tessa Keating, an alumni of the University of Southern Mississippi, never thought her job at NASA's John C. Stennis Center would allow her to contribute to historic events within the space program. Now she helps promote Artemis, a series of ongoing lunar missions, to everyone who visits the Space Center's campus. Showcasing a new generation of explorers, Keating earned her master's degree in communications from USM in 2006. While interning at NASA's Stennis Space Center, she balanced night classes and weekend work while building a promising career. Being raised in South Mississippi, going to Southern Miss was no question. USM was the perfect choice for me. I had such a wonderful time here. The professors felt like family and wanted to help me in my career and future goals, said Keating. In Hattiesburg news, a new park is now open. Saturday, the city of Hattiesburg unveiled its latest effort to combine fun and inclusivity, Midtown Green. Plans for the park were first presented by the Midtown Merchants Association, and after initial negotiations, the city was able to secure a little more than 4 acres of land on Crestmount Avenue. Construction began 2 years ago. Now, the few acres are fully decked out, sporting a playground designed to accommodate disabled children as well. There's also a concession stand and a pavilion. Hattiesburg officials say Midtown Green would serve as a proud new addition to the list of places to play in Hattiesburg. The city secured a National Park Service land and water conservation grant to help fund the project. In Mississippi news, hundreds raced in the 18th Mississippi Blues Marathon. There were 5 different races for runners: the marathon, a half marathon, a 10K, a 5K, and a kids' fun run. Runners from across the country came out for Saturday's race. Some of them were always looking forward to their next race, so the preparation never stops. This is the 18th year for the marathon, and this year was special as they were celebrating the 100th birthday of B.B. King and Medgar Evers. Blues artist Castro Coleman contributed to King during his national anthem performance. Coleman is a Mississippi native, and he would like to see the state continue to find ways to spotlight blues music. Along with a chance to see exhibitions from B.B. King Museum, those who came out to check out different fun foods and health vendors while enjoying live music from the Soul Shakers. That's your news update from Southern Miss today. We'll have the latest in sports and weather, so stay tuned. We'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got a lot of food in this country, so how are 17 million kids in America struggling with hunger? That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gathers surplus food and gets it to hungry kids who need it. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
To help solve hunger in Mississippi, contact Mississippi Food Network or visit feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Welcome back with our action-packed sports segment. Let's dive into the latest scores, highlights, and sports. Get your jerseys on because it's game time. Today, Monday, February 24th, track and cross country will be at the Sunbelt Indoor Championship through Tuesday, February 25th, and the men's golf team will be playing at the Dorado Beach Collegiate Tuesday, February 25th. On Tuesday, February 25th, the baseball team will be playing against Ole Miss. On Wednesday, February 26th, the women's basketball team will be playing against Arkansas State, and the men's basketball team will be playing against South Alabama. On Friday, February 28th, the beach volleyball team will be at the FIU Invite. The men's tennis team will be playing against North Alabama. The softball team will be playing at the Black and Gold Challenge. Women's basketball team will be playing against the Ragin' Cajuns. The baseball team will be playing against TCU. And the men's basketball team will be playing against Troy. On Saturday, March 1st, the beach volleyball team will be at the FIU Invite. The softball team will be playing against Lamar. The baseball team will be playing against TCU. And the softball team will be playing against Louisiana Tech. Head to southernmiss.com to keep up with all the Golden Eagles sports activities. As for weather today, look for a low of 45 with a high chance of rain and a high of 64. The feels like for today is 42 to 64 degrees. Tomorrow, look for a low of 45 and a high of 71 with a low chance of rain. Tomorrow's feels like is 45 to 74 degrees. Up next, we have Mississippi Moments produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage with Coach Reed Green recalling helping athletes find a job. Check it out.
This is Mississippi Moments, produced by the Center for Oral History and Cultural Heritage at the University of Southern Mississippi and supported by the Mississippi Humanities Council. I'm Bill Ellison. In 1942, as the United States prepared for war, Southern Miss suspended all sports activities. Coach Reed Green remembers how he found jobs for his football players so they could remain in school.
We went through the 41 season. The war came on. And we were conducting spring training when Van went into service. And I conducted spring training by myself. All the kids came back that had not enlisted or had been drafted. They entered school, and the board of trustees abolished intercollegiate athletics. Well, I don't know whether it's an economic move or not, but I couldn't intercede anyway to continue them on scholarship, even though they had been in school. So I got around and worked with a fellow named Kelly, who was in charge of the transportation Camp Shelby, and got most of those youngsters that were still in school jobs running those buses at odd time, and actually they made lots of money. They were able to stay in school, and we had a football team, even though the board of trustees had canceled intercollegiate athletics.
Bill Ellison hosts Voices of Our People World War II, a new podcast from Mississippi Moments, sponsored by the Mississippi Humanities Council. That's Voices of Our People World War II, wherever you get your podcasts.
That was your Mississippi Moment for today. Coming up, we have the pleasure of hearing from John after a quick break.
Sponsorship comes from American Graphics. Located at 8 Commercial Warehouse Drive in Hattiesburg, American Graphics provides custom screen printing and embroidery. They can be reached by phone at 601-602-2277. And the website is goamericangraphics.com. American Graphics, printing at its finest.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain.
Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Now, please give a warm Golden Eagle welcome to John. How are you?
I'm good. How about yourself?
I'm good, thank you. Could you tell everyone a bit about yourself, please?
I'm John Miller. I'm a veteran and a small business owner, and so I came back to school because I didn't have much else going on.
Awesome. What has your experience been as a non-traditional undergrad student?
It's been mostly pretty good. I've always seemed to find traditional students that didn't mind hanging out and stuff like that, whether it was at the junior college or here. So yeah, it's been an experience.
Has there been any issue with you trying to relate to other undergrad students?
Mostly I just see that you guys aren't as social as we used to be. That would be the primary relation thing. Other than that, I have to watch some of my jokes. They might sound good peer to peer for you guys, but coming from me, it's a little different. So that would be the extent of it.
Have there been any things that you have found that are way different than you expected or were used to when you came to college doing undergrad?
Well, I mean, socially, things are not as separated as I kind of have observed from the online space as far as generational differences might go. Again, most of the students here, there hasn't been there just hasn't been much that's challenged.
Okay, awesome. Do you believe that being a non-traditional undergrad student has any benefits as opposed to just being undergrad when you get out of high school?
Sure. There was times when world experiences helped me deal with tests and being able to relate stuff. I want to be here now, and at this level we get to pick and choose what we want to take, so that's been really cool, and I've been able to study medieval history with Dr. Lukehart and some other students. So that kind of stuff. My time is a little more it's difficult, but I just when I'm here, I do all the schoolwork. When I go home, I do my work, and I've kind of found mostly a balance with that.
Okay. So you find that having past life experience kind of helps a little bit in some situations?
Yeah, definitely. For me, I've conquered bigger mountains in the past type of thing, so this is kind of whatever happens. There's low stress on me. I'm also not trying to do this for a job afterwards, so again, that helps it to where it's a lot less stressful than you guys would have to deal with. So.
And if this is personal, you do not have to answer it, but did you want to go to college before when you were getting out of high school? Or was that something completely different than how you feel now?
Well, no. So a lot of my peers, I did one semester, but I did my 1 to 3 semesters at the local junior college, and I came in and made a .75 GPA, and I'm proud to say I did nothing to deserve that grade. But again, a lot of students, especially when you're looking at the JUCO scene, I wasn't focused on it. We called ourselves tree people at the Poplarville campus, and we would hang around smoking and joking all day, and again, failing classes. And so, yeah, I did more hanging out as a traditional student than I should have, so that's the difference.
Did it affect what you wanted to study when you came to school? Has time affected that?
Sure. When I was 18 and getting out of high school, I thought I wanted to be an engineer and be part of the Mars mission type stuff, which ironically, would have set me up to be in that sphere. But I went into the workforce, found myself something in the kind of math thinking type of stuff. And so now it's over the last probably 10 years, I got into history, especially medieval history. And so coming here and again, not necessarily being dependent on a job, I've been able to just kind of study, in this case, medieval history, and just kind of, just go with it.
Is it history or medieval history that's your major?
Well, history is the major, but
medieval's history is what you're on right now.
Right, and I'm taking part-time classes because work and 300 level classes are getting the best of me. So it's with my workload, I'm focusing as much on medieval as I have to. I don't have to fill in spaces with Russian history, no problem with that. But you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So.
And so this is more of just an interest thing.
Yeah.
For you than has to do anything with a career path.
Yeah. Like I said, I run my own small business, and I might work a 20-hour week during the busy season in the middle of summer, and I'm pretty slow in my field of work during like the fall to spring. So if I don't come to school, I just like, I've got nothing to do, and I'm not one of these people that can sit around idle.
Yeah.
And so I've got my GI Bill, and I'm like, all right, well, let's go back to school and just learn something and meet new people and do that kind of stuff. So
What made you choose here versus doing another junior college or doing online?
well, I did the junior college for the 2 years, 30 hours, whatever it is, 60 hours. And I kind of wish I'd skipped out on that having come here, but I came to USM because, you know, I'm from the South Mississippi, so it's like USM is the school to go to if you're from this region. So.
Okay, and you mentioned your small business. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
I mean, it's not a whole lot to talk about. No, I repair lawn and garden sprinkler systems. So, like, I expect in the next week or two to just start having my phone blow up. And this will be where I start, like, stressing about school work, getting to stuff. But, again, it was something I got good at. I started it in 2016. It was a giant headache to get it off the ground. And, I mean, I do well enough for myself. But more importantly, like, I like to say it might be, I don't know if this is, but I bought my freedom off of it. Like I said, a busy week is a 20-hour work week in the summertime, typically speaking. You know, I might work 40 hours in the spring or fall when the weather is cool and, like, the sun's still up. But, yeah. So.
And there was mention of you being in the military before. How did that affect you at school now? Or do you feel it does in any way?
Well, I met security once because of a conversation I was having with a student, and he recognized, he was like, all right, I was in the military too, but you got to calm that down. How does my time in the military do what? What was the question again?
Does it affect anything at school? Specifically, does it make anything else beneficial to you over other people?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm just more jaded, sarcastic, and humorous. I got classmates that are like, are you all right? I'm like, if you ask a veteran, I'm fine. But I don't know. I mean, it kind of goes to age, the military, my generation. Like, when I had to take my speech class, that was easy. I'm like, okay, so the speech class when I was at the JUCO, it's a lesson in confidence. I'm like, I've got the confidence. So, like, I'm one of the students engaging with the professors. I don't know if that's military. I don't know if that's age. But if you had to, I could say that. Other than that, I just harass all the other soldier students that I see on campus and some of the Air Force ones.
That's fair. So do you feel like you fit in a little easier when you came here? Or, like, because there's the JROTC, is that what it's called? I don't know. But they're really big about their military thing here. Did it cancel out with you being non-traditional undergrad and military, or did you kind of just...
Well, for any ROTC, the J is the high school group, if I remember. No, but, I don't want anybody coming after you. So the ROTC kids, not so much, although, but, like, I had a class with a guy, he's an enlisted man in the National Guard, and so when I see him, I harass him from across the way. One of the student personal trainers, he was in the military, and so, like, when I got him training me, and so when he does, it's like, we don't go full dirty, nasty soldier, but, like, we can be a little more relaxed than when I'm dealing with, as a more polished student, if you will.
Yeah.
Not to get anybody in trouble. But there was something else to that question. But the ROTC kids, I don't necessarily talk to them so much. I kind of harass them, whether it's that one engineer guy that I pass on occasion, the artillery guy, but Yeah.
Do you, well, obviously you think it's true to never go back to school, but you're back at school.
Yeah, right. Well,
yeah. What is some advice you would give to people that are deciding to go back to school, whether it's they have a small business like you do or they just decided?
So, look, no, when I'm on the streets, in my hometown, and I'm like, dude, you're making $10 an hour. You're 25 years old. Go to the JUCO, learn the vocab text. So many people, I tell them, I'm like, fill out FAFSA, go to the community college. Nobody listens. So it's like, what's my advice? It's hard because I want to be optimistic and have hope for people, right? Like, you got nothing going on. You can do this, But so many people get comfortable with what they've got that no amount of direction, no amount of trying to raise them up is going to do anything for them. And I mean, especially younger listeners may disagree with that. But like, I had a buddy of mine, I was like, he's a veteran. I was like, dude, start a business, go back to school, use your GI Bill, that's money in your pocket, go sling pizzas on Friday, Saturday night, and stop doing the work. He did half of the stuff and didn't put in the work, and now he's just delivering pizzas at my age. And I'm like, my guy. And so the advice is just kind of, for me, I watched my dad, and everything he regretted was things he didn't do. And so for me, to not do things is not an option, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it has to be in the person. You know, if you want to come back to school, there's means. Apply for the Pell Grant. If you've got certain situations, apply for whatever grants are coming, and just do it. But like, best laid plans of mice and men type stuff. If you don't just do it, it's never going to happen.
Yeah. What do you plan to do after you graduate?
I'm mostly going to keep working on my sprinkler system stuff. My friend got her accounting degree, and she's like, "What are you going to do?" I'm like, I stay as far as away from HR departments as possible. I've got the personality only a mother could love, and she doesn't. So I'm better suited dealing with one client, making their repair, and going home. Although I'm kind of flirting with looking and trying to get myself in a position to go explore parts of the world in, the next 10 years. I'm flirting with the idea of pursuing a master's, which I guess in a history department, that's not so bad because you can just kind of like go dive into a library and not be offensive to anybody except for a book that you're looking at. So that's always a possibility. But right now, short term, it's just I'm going to keep doing what I do, digging holes in people's yards, having muddy hands.
And you have a lot to do outside of school. Do you do any groups or clubs or anything here?
Here? No. I tried to get a group of students together, and they found themselves through some role-playing games, which, and I know there's a lot of students here, they ask about if there's Dungeons & Dragons going on. I know there's a Discord or something like that if anybody's listening and curious. So I just tried to organize, and a small group of students got themselves together and kind of found each other. But I typically don't do much with, interest-type stuff, so...
You're just not interested. That's just not something you feel like, well, not feel like doing, but like something that would you find would benefit you.
I mean, I tried to see what the history club was about, and it just at the time didn't suit me, and I'm more of a loner anyway. Like I'll be sitting outside by the fountain, and there'll be 3 or 4 of us, mostly traditional students. We'll all be just chilling, but like to be part of what happens is when you get a group of people and you get governing systems, you get bureaucracy. And if I liked that, I'd have stayed in the military and I'd have kept pursuing my injuries in the VA. And that's where I'm kind of at. I'm like, y'all keep your rules over there, so.
Awesome. Well, before we wrap this up, is there anything else you would like to share or say that's radio appropriate?
Yeah, I don't really know. I mean, I know you got to get 15 minutes out of me, and we're at, what, 7?
I don't know.
We'll have to play music after this, right? No, but I mean, I guess I would just say, like, if you're one of especially if you're maybe a freshman or whatever the next one is, second-year student, like, get out of your dorm and just kind of go meet people and stuff like that. And, just say hey to people. Like, that's one thing I found. Like, I'll be sitting there and I watch who I say hey to because I realize my demographic can be taken differently by other students. So, but yeah, I found more students, and like I'll just say something off the cuff in a hey, positive manner. Next thing you know, I'm talking to the student for like 30, 45 minutes. And I think there's a group of y'all that are like, you want to interact, but especially, and I don't know where COVID was with most of you guys at this point in time, but it's like you want to interact, but you don't know how to get the ball rolling on that.
Yeah, a lot of us, it was freshman year, which is the worst time possible.
Right, you're supposed to be finding your clique and who you hang out with your freshman year and stuff like that, and then it's just kind of like, so you guys really got handicapped. I noticed that when I started school in 2019, and then like the semester we went back, those freshmen were a lot more like hands off. But that would be it. Get out, you know, like y'all got that green space by the fountain. I'm like, go do some hippie stuff like we used to see. You know, if you need a hacky sack, I got one in my bag. Any one of you guys can have it, you know, so, you know.
Moral of the story, make friends and go back to school if you can.
Stay creative and stay doing something.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good one. Well, thank you for coming in today and telling everyone about yourself. Coming up, we've got Justin Glowacki on animal abandonment laws.
Mississippi does not explicitly define animal abandonment as a crime, something Joseph Barlow, director of the Jackson County Animal Shelter, sees the impact of firsthand.
You've got a call that a homeowner has found 4 puppies on their property when they got up in the morning that they didn't own and have never seen before, and that's all we know.
By the time animal control arrives, there's rarely a trace who left them behind.
Well, it's the complete anonymity of what happens, the crime. People aren't completely stupid. I mean, what they're doing is choosing times, locales that are really, again, go back to the anonymity.
And even when there is a lead, Mississippi's lack of clear laws makes prosecution difficult.
It's a situation where probably 1 out of 10 cases where you would have any leads to go on who did it. And when you do and you can identify that, you're still not talking about criminal charges, but you're talking about charges in justice court, court date, fines associated with it, yeah.
Legal experts say Mississippi is an outlier when it comes to animal protection laws.
Mississippi actually doesn't have any laws explicitly addressing animal abandonment. There are some provisions around animal neglect that may apply depending on the situation, but the laws don't explicitly address abandoning an animal.
The Animal Legal Defense Fund ranks Mississippi 46th in the nation for animal protection laws, citing major gaps in regulation. Advocates say statewide laws defining animal abandonment would help hold pet owners accountable, but until then, shelters and animal control officers are left to deal with the consequences. I'm Justin Glowacki, reporting for the Roy Howard Community Journalism Center.
Thank you for listening to Southern Miss Today on Southern Miss Radio. We're thankful for Carl Wilson, our audio engineer, and Gabby Collier, our film producer, for keeping this bird soaring. We especially want to thank our program director, Adeline Fields, our audio producer, Cadence Renfro, our booker, Austin Flores, our general manager, Dr. Martin, as well as our guest today. That's all for Southern Miss Today Radio. Thank you for listening. Remember, fly, eagle, fly. I'm your host, Abby Buzegard, signing off. And that's on Carl, spelling Deftones as Deftones.